Each year, the standard chartered Rift Valley Odyssey brings together riders from all over the world. A breathtaking mountain bike adventure across Kenya's spectacular Great Rift Valley, an amazing experience for the discerning rider, from the novice to the professional, like South African rider Kevin Evans.
I've been a professional cyclist since 2004, and I've represented South Africa at numerous World Championship events, mostly for mountain biking, once for road riding, and had a good career. I'm probably only going to race maybe another 1 or 2 more seasons, and then probably time to retire. I have a bike shop in the town that I live in, Plettenberg Bay, and my father runs that for me whilst I'm away racing, and it's nearly time for me to take back the position of owner of the bike shop, and yeah, maybe start looking at doing a few other projects and some coaching or a few other things I have planned. But for now, it's still racing full time, so it's still a lot of traveling and a lot of time away from home.
For Evans, the RVO was supposed to be his warm-up race, but it turned out to be much more of a test than he had previously imagined.
I think the terrain here it's hard riding. You know, the biggest adaptation for me has been the altitude. I mean, maybe I didn't do my homework properly, but I didn't see that we were going to be always kind of 2,000 meters and higher. You know, I come from sea level, so the first 3 days I was really battling. But then yesterday I sort of acclimatized and found my legs and was able to race in the front where I normally race.
The high-intensity, high-to-low altitude race happens here, in Kenya's Great Rift Valley. Stretching from Lebanon to Mozambique, the Great Rift Valley is a 6,000-mile crack in the Earth's crust, and much of it is to be found in Kenya, where it has literally cut the country in two. The Great Rift Valley contains some of the world's finest lakes, mountains, and plains. There are a number of lakes within the valley in Kenya, including Nakuru, Alimataita, and Naivasha. All 3 were part of the course for the RVO 2014.
This year was the first time we've done a 5-day event. It's always been a 3-day event. By expanding to 5 days, we've now extended the route into different territory. We've always focused around Lake Naivasha, and now we've been able to bring in Lake Alimataita and Lake Nakuru, and especially Lake Nakuru National Park, which is a jewel of a park to visit. And we're extremely privileged that Kenya Wildlife Services allowed us to cycle through there today. As a group, it's the first time we've done it, and I see the tourism potential, the sports tourism potential for doing that is incredible.
The difference on the Rift Valley Odyssey is that these trails are animal or human footpaths, and so they're not purpose-built for mountain bikers, and they tend to have a natural, they run beautifully with the gradients and the terrain, so they flow. I found them, they flow beautifully, so I think it's a much rawer experience. You know, the rocks are not moved, there are big holes in them. You've got to be really aware and sharp to make sure you don't end up with a broken head.
The lakes, together with a rich volcanic soil, are the key to life in the Great Rift Valley. Despite a decline in overall wildlife numbers, its plains are still rich with game. And if issues around land and water use and human population growth can be resolved, there is no reason to suppose they will not continue to be so. Showing the rest of the world the natural beauty that exists here in Kenya's Great Rift Valley is key to conservation. Events like the standard chartered Rift Valley Odyssey are the ideal way to get up close and personal with the natural beauty of Kenya. It's also a good way to learn a bit more about Kenyan culture, and all of this under the guise of sport.
The standard chartered Rift Valley Odyssey, this is the 5th edition of what is a great mountain biking adventure. It's all about adventure. It is not a race for times, it's not a race for first place. There is no winner's trophy in this event. It's all about the adventure, and the meaning of the word Odyssey is a long adventurous journey, and that's what we take cyclists on. And Kenya is spectacular. The landscape is fantastic. The communities and the people that we ride through, the villages, they're all extremely receptive and welcoming to us. And it's a wonderful place to cycle. It's a wonderful place to take people on an adventure. Many new entrants. Every year, half the field are repeat entrants and half is new people coming in. There are international people that have come for 3 times, 2 times, or first time, but such is the attraction that they keep coming back.
This is my second time in the RVO. It's wonderful to be back and seeing it again for another time. Thankfully, definitely last year was my first time here and this year's second time.
I was asked last year to come to the RVO by Eric Nesbitt, and unfortunately it clashed with my father's event. He has a 3-day event as well, and this year Eric specially made the event a week later so that it didn't clash. So I was definitely excited to come this year and to experience Kenya firsthand, and so far it hasn't disappointed.
The Odyssey attracts some of Kenya's top riders, like this man, David Kinja, who's been credited for Chris Froome's Tour de France success. David is also a legend in these parts, and a man who is doing his bit to create a long-lasting legacy for cycling in the country.
It's been an experience riding with David. You know, I have ridden before with him, not as a partner, but I've ridden the Cape Epic, with him, so I know him from that event. But I was looking forward to riding a few more days here with him. Unfortunately, on day one he hit his knee hard on the pedal, and he's got a problem with it, so he needs to rest. So I've seen him in the campsites because he's still here at the event, looking after the rest of his boys, the Safari Simbas, and also looking after clients' bikes.
Standard Chartered's Seeing is Believing campaign plays a vital role during the 5-day event, offering medical services to those who might otherwise not receive the treatment that they need.
The partnership we have with Standard Chartered and the Seeing is Believing program, we integrate that into the event. So this is the 3rd time we've had the partnership. We have an eye clinic that Standard Chartered manages, and they go into the communities that are local to where we ride, and they provide free eye checkups and ailments, and the whole focus of Seeing is Believing is preventable or curable blindness and addressing that. Well, it is crucial, it's very important. Douglas is an inspiration to so many people. What he goes through, this route, is extremely challenging for everybody. For him, being unsighted, it's infinitely more challenging because he does not know what's coming up.
This is the 2nd year we are doing the RVO, and this year I think we trained very well. We got a friend called Jean Duplessis, who works with the UN, who has been supporting us. He has helped refurbish our bike, and the bike is strong enough. So we are training as we are doing the RVO for the Cape Epic 2015.
As a team, yani more challenge yenye sijaipata in my life.
As a team, it's more challenging because the time I had a single bike, I didn't have this kind of challenge. I endured and went home and prayed to God that any challenge I face, I will overcome. And so we came to know each other, trained well for 2 weeks, and joined the Rift Valley Odyssey for the first time. At the time, I didn't know how to operate the gears, so it crashed a lot of times.
From there, we don't prepare, sikuwa gears vile zina operate, then sikuwa venye bike ina behave, so we crash more times.
The 2014 Standard Chartered Rift Valley Odyssey offered a fascinating landscape, from high-altitude forests to challenging terrain, the raw technical single-track trails and bush trails teeming with game, from near 90-degree descents over loose soil and gravel to arduous ascents over pristine wilderness. And whether a novice or a hardcore rider, the aptly named Odyssey is an experience that few forget and even fewer replicate anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, you're kind of just going from one side of the valley to the other, and whichever way you go, you're going to climb. So, you know, if you want to come to the RVO and experience the event, then I would say train hard, prepare well. I was lucky I was fit anyway. It's in the middle of the racing season, but if you come here and you're unfit, I think you're going to have a little bit of a shock to the system. The riding is hard, but it's been great, and it's been fantastic to get to know everybody that we're here with.
It's fantastic, real raw mountain biking, where the trails are not groomed, the trails are as they are. They're animal trails, they're footpaths, they're very smooth or they're very rough, they're very flowing or they're very interrupted. We have a real diversity of trail that you do not find anywhere else, especially in the South African races. They're so different from what we race here. This is pure, raw, real mountain biking for the purist and the adventure seeker. Get strong, train hard, improve your technical skills because they're very technical sections. They're big rocks that we go down, very steep descents, steep ascents, the river crossings that we go through, the forest trails where you're through bush and trees. So the technical skills have to be complemented by strong regimen of training.
From zigzagging across tea farms in Limuru to riding around the extinct volcanoes of Mount Longonot, Oldoño Eburu and Hoblis, traversing across indigenous high-altitude forests and gliding along the shores of Elementaita, Naivasha, Nakuru and the Oloidan Lakes. The only course markings here are the start and the finish lines, meaning participants must depend 100% on their Garmin GPS to navigate the 400-kilometer race. The challenge is as much in the riding as it is in the navigating. From the climbs to the spills, this event is about man or woman and their bicycle. Here, there are no winners or losers.
First of all, it is an adventure race, and the adventure is more important than the race. So the timing or the who finishes first is not so important. It's more important about the adventure. What is different about any other event in Kenya is the severity of the challenge. This is not for the mild, this is not for the average or the beginning rider, absolutely not. It's for the very hardcore, the very strong. You need 6 months of training to be strong enough to complete the Standard Chartered Rift Valley Odyssey. Of those 6 months, 3 months should be very intensive training, because the middle of the field, the average rider will be out in the sun, in the forest, across the rocks for 7 hours every day for 5 days. It's an extreme challenge unto itself.
The RVO certainly requires a high level of physical fitness and mental preparation. However, with scenery like this, you can easily forget the true physical challenge of the Odyssey.
Well, obviously it's got a very diverse landscape and scenery, and the navigational aspect is new, and after a couple of South Africans came and saw the navigation, a few races back home are becoming navigation now, and next year one of the biggest stage races I need to see is navigation, so that's different. And obviously the scenery, the people, the terrain, there's so much diversity, it's all different.
I think an event like this opens up a lot of doors to tourism, which is great for the country. And I said to David I would like to come back in my own time, and maybe bring my family and let them also experience the countryside and the hospitality of the Kenyans.
This is my first time riding the Standard Chartered Rift Valley Odyssey, and it has been the most extraordinary experience. 5 days of really, really hard mountain biking, but raw mountain biking, the type that I think redefines the term mountain biking as what it really should be. Exploring trails that aren't purpose-built, that belong in the communities, and we enjoy them with the mountain bikes. Absolutely fantastic.
Every year we're learning lessons. Every single year we're learning lessons. This year, yes, we learned lessons, and yes, we'll fix them for next year, and we will be better next year.
It is 400 kilometers from start to finish, but an experience that will last a lifetime.